This lesson plan is called Bubble Number Solving. It's a first grade lesson and it implements algebraic concepts, and the duration is about 15 minutes. The goal and standard aligned with this lesson is that students will understand and apply properties of operations and relationships between addition and subtraction. And this lesson is a combination of the exercises SPLAT and How Many Are Hiding. So students will find the missing addend by viewing the materials given, and the materials include this slideshow presentation with examples in addition to hands-on manipulatives that students will use later on. So the teacher will first demonstrate how the activity should be run by using the slideshow presentation examples. So for example, the students can see that there are 7 bubbles initially, and teachers will also give the number to the students as well, as we can see with the value in the upper right-hand corner, which says 7. So after students see this, teachers will then click the next slide, and a sea creature comes in and covers part of the bubbles. So what the students are trying to figure out is what is that missing addend that was covered by the fish. So by looking at the remaining bubbles, the students are able to figure this out, and teachers can phrase the question, I had 7 bubbles to begin with, but a fish came in and he ate some of my bubbles. How many bubbles did he eat? So we can figure this out in 2 ways. First, we can use subtraction, which is kind of reversing the process. So we can say that we have 7 bubbles initially. Well, we're going to take away 4 because I see that there are 4 right here. So 7 minus 4, that equals 3. And 3 would be how many bubbles were covered by the fish. The other method that we can use is to find the missing addend. So we see that there are 4 bubbles present. We can say, how many more bubbles do I need to add to 4 in order to get to 7? That would be 3. And again, 3 bubbles were covered by the fish. So we're going to run through a bunch of examples like this. Another example could be we have 10 bubbles. Then the sea turtle comes in, he eats some of our bubbles. We see that there are 4 bubbles remaining, and using the skills and strategies that I just described, we can come up with the answer of 6. So 6 bubbles were eaten. So after the teacher demonstrates this, the teacher will then run through examples where the students are giving the answers and describing how to come up with the answers using the various strategies. And after we go through all these examples on the slides, we will then split students up to work in pairs in order for them to use their hands-on manipulatives. So these manipulatives include colored chip bubbles. So the colored chips are representing the bubbles that were used in the slideshow. So collectively, students will get a cup of these, about 20 chips, and they will be tasked with pulling out a certain amount. So if we want to start with 10 chips, students will lay 10 chips out, and then they will have a sea creature hider. So if they choose the fish, and they have 10 chips out, and they want to cover 5 chips with their fish, they will say to their partner, I started out with 10 chips, but some of the chips were, or the bubbles were covered or eaten by the fish. How many bubbles were eaten? And similarly to the examples that we just went over in the slideshow, the other student will be able to look and say, oh, well, there are 5 chips visible. Let me use the strategies that we just worked on and be able to figure out that 5 chips were eaten or covered by the fish. And so after they go through these exercises, this back and forth conversation, the teacher will then do another review question similar to the questions in the beginning, just to review how they feel about the process and the different strategies used. And this will also be paired with the self-reflection for the children to reflect on how they feel about their knowledge of the skills used. And that is all. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.